only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't.
Utilize those slurs. When you call her a bum, and I love Thomas Friedman's just saying that half the country is offended. My point to you, David, is don't you believe that women in this country are equally offended? Because there are women right now who don't get an opportunity to choose what they want to do with their body. There are women right now in this country
let's not get back and forth between you guys. So, Bakari, finish one, because I actually want to go to Ashley.
Briefly, and Ashley is definitely more suited to this than both David and
I.
But I would just say that there are women in this country who have different names, who get mispronounced often. And all I'm trying to do is level set and have a level of respect for Kamala Harris, the same level of respect for Kamala Harris that you and I have for each other, David. So that's my only point.
You will not be allowed to criticize this person going forward. You will not be allowed to criticize this woman. And obviously you guys saw a slight bit from the Trump event yesterday involving the let's just say the National Association of Black Journalists. You guys obviously saw a little bit of that there. And of course, I gave my thoughts on this in an earlier video that will come out at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this afternoon. It will probably be in the description box of this video here. And I gave an actual breakdown of why it is that what was actually said at that event will actually end up helping him out. But I did tell you in that video there that it would be like the first of like 3 videos talking about an issue like this, because it is definitely a lot to cover, especially given Kamala Harris's past and of course the stuff that they're trying to scrub for the internet. For example, this little bit right here from CNN back in 2019.
My mother, who raised me and my sister, was a proud woman. She was a brown woman. She was a woman with a heavy accent.
And her mother, Shamla Gopalan, was also the biggest influence in Kamala Harris's life.
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe.
After the big announcement, Harris's sister wrote in a Twitter post, "You can't know who Kamala Harris is without knowing who our mother was." In 1958, a precocious...
2020, only about 30 seconds there, but as you guys can obviously see, you can still access this video on YouTube. Of course, all you got to do is just type in Kamala Harris's Indian past, and therefore you'll get it. This right here is a person who identifies as Indian when it's necessary, and then she identifies as black when it's necessary. It's basically the good old-fashioned flip-flop game. And they're going to play that there to an absolute T, especially with this polling information, which, by the way, have come from some places that were never correct in either polling data in the past year or so. And, of course, to go on top of that, you've also got the receipts of people like Decision Desk HQ, which have actually made videos on exactly how off the polls are. But, of course, at the same time, even with their bad polls, Trump still leads in the RCP aggregate. Odd, it must mean that Kamala Harris really and truly is not a popular candidate. However, the purpose of this video right here is to talk about why it is you're not allowed to criticize her and why it is the liberal media is acting the way they are acting. So with that right there out of the way, let's give a brief recap from a few days ago, which, by the way, was before Trump's comments yesterday, but it's kind of a preview of what's yet to come out of the liberal media going forward. Here you go.
About the record, Bakari, listen, I'm cool with the T-shirt, just like you said. Let's have the strategy, okay? Let's have the strategy. Let's focus on Kamala Harris's record. She ran for president before and ran miserably. Her own campaign staff said, listen, we quit. This is the worst run campaign ever. I've been involved in 3 campaigns, or state director of 3 campaigns. I've never been treated or seen staff treated worse than any campaign. She quit. The editor of the Sacramento Bee, who worked for Kamala Harris previously, said, if you can't run a campaign, how do you expect to run the country? When you look at her words, we don't have to guess what she's going to run on. We can just look at her own words. And her positions are incredibly extreme. I agree with Bakari. Listen, I don't want to attack Kamala Harris as an individual. Let's look at the policies. Let's have a debate about policy.
Stop.
Okay, good. Kamala.
David, you're a brilliant
how
man.
am I pronouncing it, Bakari?
That's my point exactly. That's my
tell me, buddy.
That's my point exactly. The fact is her name is Kamala, but
now, really quick, before I start talking about record and before I start talking about Bakari Sellers' meltdown, because it actually gets a lot worse, and you can't say she's a DEI hire because that's racist, I want you guys to go ahead and know something right now. We're also going to be looking at Donald Trump's comments or some of the comments that were in the previous video to kind of clamp down this issue. So bear with me really, really quick. We will get back to Bakari Sellers, but let's go ahead and get back on track. I'm pretty sure you guys already know where Bakari Sellers is going, and don't worry, we'll discuss that a little bit more in this video. But like I've been trying to kind of, wink, wink, and nod to you, there has been a counter to this, and it's a counter that, quite frankly, the liberal left, especially the liberal media, cannot take. I saw this tweet right here from Clay Aiken, somebody who is a Democrat, and of course they're talking about civility in politics, and what they don't seem to understand, which actually he does understand, is that John McCain got absolutely destroyed in that election, which he was probably going to lose anyways, but that's kind of the point of that's kind of the point behind the whole graceful loser trope that Republicans have kind of sort of gotten used to. We'll talk about that too, but I want to talk about this right here first. So Bakari Sellers, as you guys can obviously see, he's about to get pissed off, and obviously he's upset. And if you call Kamala Harris a diversity hire, then obviously you're a racist. If DEI is so great, why don't you people be proud about being diversity hires? Why don't you be happy about it? Seriously. I mean, these people have yet to actually defend it. They really and truly have not. But we'll get to that here in a second. Anytime you give this type of fawning coverage of a political candidate, and by the way, in today's environment, it's not the same as 2008 because they fawned over Obama, but Obama was nowhere, let's just say, put it this way here. Obama was much, much more light, and Kamala Harris's unfavorabilities were already baked into the cake, which is one of the reasons why it is. Nobody believes this, which she's got now a favorability of close to 60%. Nobody believes that. Go back to the previous video, one of the previous videos I did. The term or the phrase or the person Willie Brown trended, was like the top trend for like 3 straight days, as well as the term ratchet was trending for 3 days after her rally in Atlanta. This is all manufactured. Nothing special about this person at all. But this guy right here, serial never Trumper, he's been up there for a while, LA Times columnist. I think he hit the nail on the head.
Thing was clearly politically motivated, she said, and obviously inaccurate. She said that in February. So to come off after all of this, and then suddenly a bad debate, everything gets scrambled up, and then Kamala comes, and we see 1 week of flowing and gushing, yes, reflection of the euphoria that is real that people are experiencing. And I actually am happy that people are experiencing euphoria. However, that feeling that the other people are experiencing is also real, which is that stop gaslighting us right now. And if you keep doing it, I've gotten emails from, and I'm not a pro-Trump person at all, from people who saying, if people keep doing this, I'm thinking about rage voting for Trump. That is a terrible outcome.
He's not lying. In a lot of ways, the media got Donald Trump elected back in 2016. Let me say this really quick. The rally that Kamala Harris had in Atlanta, where she had rappers, Megan Thee Stallion, whatever her name is, it was met with a lot of people online saying that it was ratchet. Now, this is not like 2008 with Obama. Obama, for the most part, say what you want to about him. He actually ran a pretty efficient campaign. He was professional pretty much the entire bit, for the exception of the Reverend Wright stuff when it came out. And, of course, the Gods and Guns comment, which, for whatever reason, didn't find its way back to the spotlight till 2012. The fact of the matter is that Kamala Harris, Queen Harris, she was always viewed as some ratchet woman who got the job based upon her sex and her race, of which, by the way, she apparently does not seem to know which one, which is also another reason why Trump's comments yesterday were absolutely brilliant, which, of course, I will go ahead and play those comments for you again before we get back to Bakari Sellers. Here's part 1.
On to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir,
of
I'm
that.
asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you would.
Now, before I play some more of this for you guys, I want you to know right now, they can't define DEI. They can't tell you what's so great about it. Diversity, equity, inclusion is an extremely dangerous policy. It's dangerous for a multitude of reasons. And also, to go on top of this, even black people don't like it, because now when they go to a job or they get a job, people are automatically going to think to themselves, is this person hired because of the color of their skin? Also, something else to go on top of this, black people are not the only minority in this country. You've got Asians, you've got Muslims, you've got Jews, you've got what else? Hispanics. They're becoming the much, much larger minority. And by the way, Trump is actually gaining with Hispanics. And he's also gaining with black men, which I personally believe that this right here will max out or help him fully max as black male. But he ain't getting black women at all. Only black women are going to vote for Kamala Harris. But the thing is, this right here, in order to get her over, you got to have black women with black men voting at full capacity. All you got to do is go into NBC, swing the election, and raise the black vote all the way up. But if you get to about 40% of the Hispanic vote for the Republican, with about, I'd say, probably 70% of non-college educated whites, that normally sends the Republican over with some college support. That normally does it. The demographic game the Democrats are playing is actually quite suicidal, and given the fact that, I don't know, how do I say this? Given the fact that you have a migration crisis, migrant crime, and migrants already replacing certain said people, we're talking about, that right there is already not playing well to the border czar of the United States, of which, by the way, the internet has tried to go out of their way to scrub any information of her being border czar, but yet now it's in every single Trump ad. So good luck to you people when you want to continue to censor the net, because don't worry, we will always have the receipts. But keep trying, because the more and more you try, the more and more the information will come out. But let's continue.
I believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman.
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she...
He's not lying. Here's the rest of that CNN piece from 5 years ago.
Cautious 19-year-old Indian, Gopalan traveled thousands of miles from her home and family to pursue a doctorate in nutrition and endocrinology in America. She soon became an active civil rights crusader while studying at UC Berkeley.
But once she went there, she almost felt free. And she took part in politics. She used to bring a whole series of literature, leftist literature from Karl Popper's, he was a great philosopher.
In her book, Harris says, "There is no title or honor on earth I'll treasure more than to say I am Shamla Gopalan Harris's daughter." Harris's visits to India with her mother kept her connected to her roots. Her grandfather, who had strong views on humanitarian issues, worked closely with officials to reallocate refugees. Their conversations had a strong influence on her.
Those walks along the beach.
Actually, it was 4 years ago. My bad. Obviously, I'm human. I make mistakes too. But as you guys can obviously see, she embraces her Indian heritage. I'm showing you guys some more photos here. Trump even posted some of these up there because, believe it or not, Trump actually donated $1,000 to her campaign in, I think it was 2010. Yeah, and obviously she's had conversations with him. So therefore, he's probably got some inside information that others don't know. I mean, God knows Judge Joe Brown does. But we'll discuss him more in one of the videos tomorrow, as well as the stuff that was uncovered on Jimmy Dore's show. Because believe it or not, this leftist Jimmy Dore, he's somebody who does not plan on supporting Kamala Harris, as well as a lot of other ones. But we'll discuss that later on. She's got a bit of a base issue. It's one of the reasons why it is I don't panic over the mainstream media pumping out a bunch of lies. But let's watch the next part.
She's black.
She is always identified as a black woman.
I respect
historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great...
No lies detected. I mean, seriously, there were no lies detected. But let's watch the rest of Bakari Sellers' meltdown.
Okay, Kamala Harris. Okay, I'm saying
a a DEI
No,
hire.
wrong, Bakari. Wrong.
Guys, first of all, let's not talk over each other because nobody hears.
Yeah, Bakari, I'm talking about, and you know me, and shame on you, Bakari, because you know me better than that. So shame on you. I'm saying let's talk about her. Let's talk about her record. What she calls about when she asks for mandatory gun buybacks, says we're going to have mandatory. When she says I'm going to do away with private insurance. When she says people in Pennsylvania, I'm banning fracking, and my plan for you is to let you transition to get another job. Those are her words. We should focus on those things, not who she is.
Okay. Kamala, come Queen Love, Kamala, horrible is what it means in Finnish. I wouldn't take this crap from him.
There. But my point is simply this. When you call a woman who is this accomplished a DEI hire, right? Those slurs. When you call her a bum, and I love Thomas Friedman's just saying that half the country is offended. My point to you, David, is don't you believe that women in this country are equally offended? Because there are women right now who don't get an opportunity to choose what they want to do with their body. There are women right now in this country
let's not get back and forth between you guys. So, Bakari, if you respond, because I actually want to go to Ashley.
Briefly, and Ashley's definitely more suited to this than both David and
I.
But I would just say that there are women in this country who have different names, who get mispronounced often. And all I'm trying to do is level set and have a level of respect for Kamala Harris, the same level of respect for Kamala Harris that you and I have for each other, David. So that's my only point.
Once again, you're not even allowed to even mispronounce her name. Look, as I said before, Kamala, come Queen Love. I mean, whatever the hell you want to call her, I mean, that way there's up to you. I mean, honestly, if I was on that panel, I would probably say exactly what I just said, just to upset Bakari Sellers more, so that way people can see exactly how triggered and weak is. By the way, if you have to go to this way, if you have to resort to this, that means your candidate's actually pretty damn weak. Just saying. Look, I'd love to run on the issues, but let's just go ahead and be honest, okay? They're going to play extremely dirty. They're going to play nasty, and I think that sticking to the issues is obviously the best way to go. But seeing how it is that these people are censoring the net, going out of their way to censor the net, trying to go out of their way to cover up this woman's past, I think it's I think anything at this point in time is fair game. So it doesn't surprise me that these people are crying and whining about the fact that somebody just simply mispronounced her name, even though you can say it however the hell you want. It doesn't surprise me that people are pissed off that somebody's calling her a DEI hire, which is what the hell she is. And like I said before, they can't actually defend diversity, equity, inclusion. The only thing they do is just use it to cry about. You can't call me, you can't say I'm a DEI hire. That is racist. It's racist. Cry me a frickin' river. The fact of the matter is that this particular version of the Republican Party or this particular Republican nominee is not just going to sit there and be the lovable loser and take it. Go back to that tweet that I put up from Clay Aiken. Clay Aiken, by the way, is from my home state, and he is a Democrat, very, very much a liberal. Don't be fooled. Clay Aiken is bringing up a moment that occurred in the 2008 presidential campaign when the election, for the most part, was pretty much decided, when John McCain was approached by an old lady who basically asked the question if Barack Obama was a Muslim. And McCain's response was, he's a family man, this, that. It basically shushed off the voter. That probably would have played well earlier in the campaign, but McCain did this right at the very end to try to say, well, we're trying to restore some form of civility, when the John McCain campaign was absolutely terrible. Remember something really quick. The Republicans who are on MSNBC right now, the Republicans who are railing against Donald Trump, they all at one point in time worked for the John McCain campaign. So they know what the hell it's like to bend over and just take it. Nicole Wallace is an anchor at NBC. She was the communications director for that presidential campaign back in 2008. What the hell is going on is that these people cannot take the fact that the Republican nominee of the United States, the Republican nominee for president 2024, the same as 2016, same as 2020, is not just going to sit there and take it. He's going to punch back, and these people hate it when you punch back. Remember, with the left, they are allowed to hit you. They were allowed to hit you, but you are not allowed to fight back, which makes beating them all the more sweeter. Now, how does it look to everybody else in the world? Well, I think Jesse Waters said it best in his segment last night. Let's watch some of it.
Because as president, he wants to work for them. Kamala not showing up is taking the black vote for granted. If you're invited into someone's house and they disrespect you, doesn't matter who they are, what they look like, black, female, whatever, Trump doesn't tolerate disrespect. And as president, whether you like him or not, whether he makes you feel uncomfortable or not, that's the attitude you want in a leader. Someone who works for your vote and who doesn't allow the country to be disrespected. Might not look pretty, but it works. And his presidency proved that. Mr. Nice Guy Joe Biden and laughing Kamala Harris, politically correct, but cowards, won't stand up for our sovereignty or our safety. So what if Biden and Harris say all the right things and don't make you feel anxious? Country's a mess. Your feelings are the problem.
Identity politics is not helping. Like I said in the previous video, what Trump did was he took the spotlight away from Kamala, put it back on himself. He said, okay, I could take a hit. He may not have been thinking at that time, but that's definitely what the hell is going to end up happening in this case. It put DEI front and center, and now people can see that the only thing that Kamala Harris is going to do is run strictly on her blackness, when in reality, she's not even black. But we will discuss that much, much further in tomorrow's video. But let's watch this next part.
People are so privileged that they're putting their own personal feelings about a president's vibe over their own countrymen's lives. People are being hurt in America by smooth-talking politicians. In that moment, Trump's not worried, does this hurt me politically? He's defending his honor. He's doing what he thinks is right, because his policies benefited the black community more than Biden-Harris's. He doesn't care if you call him rude or racist if he knows he's doing what's right. This country's in too bad of shape to be so sensitive. Black communities are furious that Kamala Harris, a black woman, flooded their neighborhoods with migrants and showered the foreigners with welfare. And she didn't show up.
He's basically taking a hit, so that way, when he does recover, he'll be much, much stronger. Basically, what Donald Trump is doing is saying what the hell is on everybody's mind. People just don't want to come out and say it. The shy Trump voter does exist. It's one of the biggest reasons why it is that Trump has always overperformed the polls, which is kind of shocking why it is he's been up in the polls all the way up to this point. But then again, at the same time, though, some of us who've been in the game for a while aren't shocked by it. So don't let people like Tommy Lahren or Lauren Southern, Canuck, who offered free custody to the man she now bashes, don't let these people try to gaslight the hell out of you. Yes, we're going to run on the issues. Yes, Trump is going to run on the issues. But holy crap, this issue right here is something that they are going to use against him to try to get out their base. And what Trump is simply doing is intensifying the size of his base to go out there and drown that one out. It put the DEI question back in focus, and maybe, just maybe, we can get public opinion on our side, which it already is, it's just not openly coming out, to fully eradicate this extremely horrible policy, which in a lot of ways is actually an insult to those it's supposed to help. I mean, the Beanie guy actually hit it out of the park here.
You comment on all of these things, and I'll tell you my thoughts right now. DEI refers to workplace policies and practices designed to support people of various backgrounds and provide resources for them to thrive, while also identifying qualified candidates for jobs to close racial and gender disparities. But it's become the latest shorthand way to allege that success and power for some people of color or from other marginalized groups are unearned. What? How is it offensive? That's literally what it means. Diversity hiring means you are intentionally choosing a person for being black. Now, the left will argue, no. What we're saying is, if they are equally qualified, then we hire them because they're black. So why are you insulted when someone's a diversity hire? You should be celebrating it. I'm genuinely confused by this. They want diversity hires. They should be going, you're correct, she is a diversity hire. We do a great job. They will never
be able to defend it because they know exactly how bad of a policy it is. And these people are just whining and crying because somebody chose to fight back. This is who these people are. We have a golden opportunity, by the way, to get these people away from policy for the rest of this year. So get out, vote like crazy. I don't care. Vote Republican, shrimp down the ticket. No tax on tips is starting to take off. And now you've got this new one, no tax on Social Security, which I am sure will take off as well with another base that Trump is hurting with. This entire thing has only done nothing more but brought people back who agree with him on certain set issues to actually physically come out and get behind him. Like I said before, their whining and crying only serves to help us out. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. We got a couple of videos coming out tomorrow on Kamala Harris, so don't worry, stick around for those. Please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.